Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is another ranking my last 10 palettes. It's been a month since the last one. I've accumulated 10 more that I've been playing with and testing out, and now I'm gonna rank them. As always, I initially got this video idea from Annette's Makeup Corner. I'll have her channel down below for you. And I am very excited. I have a very good group of palettes this time. The top contenders are pretty amazing. The middle section was honestly really hard for me because there are just so many good ones. It was, I don't know, hard picking favorites in the middle especially. And then maybe I have a couple that I could like take it or leave it. They're not bad, but they're just like not life-changing. But either way, I'm very excited. I've done looks with all of these palettes, most of the time multiple looks. You can check my channel, you can check my Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff to see some inspo if you need it. Before we hop into the video itself, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and YouTube Shorts and TikTok and all that good stuff by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories go, this necklace is Ana Luisa and these earrings are from Windlestraw Studio, and you can use my code BATTYBEAN to save 10%. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop on in and chat about these palettes. Oh man, like I said, this was kind of tough. I say this in every video, but I am picky about what I'm willing to use. I don't just use things for the sake of using it. I only use things that I think I'm genuinely going to enjoy. So then when it comes time for these rankings, it's very hard to even pick favorites because I know myself pretty well. I know what I'm probably gonna like, so then I end up with a lot of favorite things. But I did narrow it down this time. I was pretty firm on my top 3 especially. I was definitely sure on what the bottom 2 were gonna be. It was the ones in the middle, everywhere from like number 4 to number 8. I really could have potentially put in any direction, but I ended up going based on like overall theme, color story, general vibes, my likelihood to reach for it again, stuff like that. And as always, in case you think I'm forgetting something, I can assure you that I'm not. I take very thorough notes all the time on the order and what I've tried recently and stuff like that. If you think I'm forgetting something, it was either in the last ranking and you might have missed it, I haven't tried it yet and I'll be trying it soon and it'll be in the next ranking, or I just simply don't have it and you are mistaken, my friend. But anyways, I'm ready to dive in. So let's kick it off with number 10. Number 10, I ended up giving to the Mist Haven palette from Alter Ego, and I actually thought I was gonna rank this one much higher when I first got it because I'm actually really impressed with this one. This one I believe is supposed to be a dupe for the Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge, and I do enjoy this. I'm not much of a neutral girly. I do have a much more toned down eye look than I usually do. I'm usually either very colorful or very grungy. This is a little more, it's like soft, you know? Not what I typically do. So with that being said, like I'm not always gonna play with neutrals, but when I am really into this. I like the cooler tones. I like the very glossy shimmers. Even this shade right here, I'm not mad at. In the Natasha Denona dupes that this brand does, I hate, and I use that word very strongly, hate the cream matte formula that is in them. I just feel like it is not pigmented enough. It does not show up enough. I just cannot stand it. I don't mind this one because this is almost more of like, almost like a linery base. Like it has so much more pigmentation, and very often I will draw with like a gel liner or something, a wingy shape, either on my whole lid or just in the outer corner. And then I'll add shadow on top of it to create a really cool, more editorial, I suppose, sort of look. So I actually don't mind this in that palette for that reason. So overall, I'm really not mad at this one, but it also doesn't like stand out that much in my collection. Like I do have some neutral palettes that I will grab for if I'm gonna play with neutrals. I don't know if this one really like stands apart from those per se. And just compared to the other palettes in this ranking, I like the other themes better, or they're more colorful, or just more of what I'm gonna reach for on the regular. This one, while it's fine, I don't really have any major complaints about it. It just wasn't a huge standout for me. But I do think the palette itself was done really well. So if you're into this kind of a vibe, I think you'd really like it. And by the way, I will have all of these palettes linked down below for you, as well as any discount codes if I have any. Moving on now to number 9. Honestly, number 9 and number 10, I kind of went back and forth on which one to put in the bottom. And for a while, I actually thought this one was gonna be in the 10th spot, but when I really was trying to reflect and decide on the order for this video, the theming for this palette I just love, so it ended up getting knocked up a little bit. So number 9 is going to be the Colourpop Welcome Foolish Mortals palette. This is the Haunted Mansion palette. This actually came out last year. I never got around to getting it last year, but they sent it to me recently with the re-release, and I was super stoked to get the package. I was super stoked to dive into this palette, but I feel like it's a little forgettable. The theming is so cute. I do say though, I wish they would have incorporated some of the green that the cast members on the ride wear for this palette, but that's just me. I think the green is so cool. I do think this is a fun color story though. It's very cool toned, very ghostly. I think it's cute. Is it anything I'm obsessed with? No. Is it cute? Sure. I don't know if this is anything that I'm gonna like feel compelled to reach for often, but I don't know. I could take it or leave it. That's kind of where I land on this palette. I ended up, again, just ranking this one higher than the Mist Haven, mostly just because the theme does speak to me a little bit more. But overall, it was fine to play with. Don't know how often I'm really gonna be reaching for it though. Moving on now to number 8, and again, I feel like 8 through 4, I really could have moved these around in so many different directions. This was tough, and this one specifically I really thought would be ranked higher, but again, just various themes or formulas I just felt very drawn to. There's different reasons, and we'll get into them. Number 8, I ended up deciding to give to the Nutty by Nature from Ensley Reign. I love this palette. I love this theming. I love that they commissioned a real artist for this packaging. I'm glad they're going in that direction, it seems. I'm glad they're starting this little small pan series. They've said that there's gonna be, I think as of right now, 9, and if the series is successful, they'll be going into a full year of them, and this is the first installment, the little squirrel guy. It's very cute. It's a fun little 6-pan. I feel like this is a great way to try the brand if you are new to them but don't want to commit to one of the larger palettes. We have 4 mattes, 2 shimmers. I'm actually using this palette for this look today, and I think it's very cute. The 2 multi-chromes are absolutely stunning. Honestly, the 2 multi-chromes really made me want to rank this one higher, but just overall, it is a mostly kind of like neutrals with a twist sort of palette, and I just don't know how often I'm gonna be compelled to reach for this one specifically. I just have other colors in my collection, more things I'm more drawn to. But again, don't get me wrong, I'm so stoked about the series as a whole. I cannot wait to see what other creatures they do for the future ones. I'm excited to see what routes they go. I think this is very fun. I think this is a great new branch for the brand, and this delights me. I'm very, very pleased with it. So I ended up ranking it number 8 just because I'm just more likely to reach for the other things. The different color stories just call to me more overall, but this one does bring me a lot of joy. I think it's very fun. Moving on now to number 7, I decided to give to the Nomad Chicago Speakeasy. I think this is so pretty. I'm really, really into this one. I always get excited about a new Nomad release. I just love their formulas, and this color story is so cool. I love kind of the mixture of the dusty purples, the weird greens, and then the warm like brownie reds. I think this is so cool. And to me, this just screams holiday. I don't know why. I just feel like this would be a great holiday palette. It's so pretty. All the shimmers in here are very much like iridescent, sparkly. They are so, so pretty. I love Nomad's formulas. The mattes are so just easy to work with, just buildable and blendable and so, so gorgeous. And I've had a lot of fun playing with this one. I feel like you can do things that are very kind of light and airy, but you can also do things that are very smoky and dark. You can go a little bit more colorful. You can tone it down a little bit. You have a lot of options with this one, and I'm very, very pleased with it. The only reason I didn't rank this one higher is just because really overall the themes of all of the NYX palettes, actually I think for the rest of the video, all of the palettes are a spooky theme, and if you know me at all, you know I love Halloween, I love spooky season, I love the witchy vibes. So if a palette has it and a formula that I like and the color story is cool, I'm probably gonna really, really love it. It's just like the perfect formula for me. So this one just got beat out mostly by like overall themes, but this one was fantastic. I think it's very fun. Moving on now to number 6, and I will say number 6 and 5 are basically tied because they do go together. It was a double palette release. They go together like a perfect match, but I did end up just like picking my favorite color story out of the 2 and placing it in 5th place and then 6th place, but just keep in mind these are basically tied. Number 6 is the Divination Warlock of the Wood palette. This Halloween collection was done between M. Jones, who's the owner of the brand, and then Basket Case Beauty over on Instagram. I think it's very, very fun. This one is the Warlock of the Wood, and it's just so moody, very much giving like spooky forest. It's so pretty. I really like the shimmers that are in here. They're very glossy and shiny on the lid, and the mattes perform so, so nicely. I've really been impressed with just the direction this brand has continued to go. Their first palette, the mattes weren't my favorite. The shimmers were pretty. Mattes I feel like could have been improved upon, and they really have done a good job. The Gloomy Gardens from them that they released earlier this year is stunning. And then these are a really fun release as well. So this is the 6th place one, Warlock of the Wood. And then moving on to 5th place, which again, they're basically tied, but the one that screams to me a little bit more is the Witch of the Wildflower. This one is very much like grungy garden aesthetic. It's so pretty, very punchy, colorful. It is so, so fun. Again, shimmers are just so glossy and shifty, and I love these different punchy colors. I feel like you can very much do Beetlejuice vibes with this, which I always love. So this one's just super fun. I love a grungy garden sort of color story, and this one makes me really happy. Moving on now to number 4, I ended up giving to the Fantasy Cosmetica Harvest of Souls palette. When I first saw this palette, I was kind of just like, I feel like I have these colors throughout other Fantasy Cosmetica palettes. And like, similar vibes, sure, there's only so many colors under the rainbow, but the more I've used this and played with it and paired different things together, I have fallen so in love with this palette. I feel like the more I use it, the more I just am obsessed with it. I think the shimmers are so pretty and the colors are so cool. This is their spooky launch for the year, and I just think it's so fun. We have really yummy, rich tones. The shimmers are out of this world. I think this is some of their best shimmers they've ever done. I just love all the muted, grungy tones. There are some really pretty things happening in here, and it makes me thrilled. And like I said, the more I've used it, the more I've just been impressed with it, and I think it is absolutely stunning. Love the spooky theme. Love seeing a new layout from the brand. They've been doing their class series for a while, like the Bard, the Druid, so on and so forth. They've done a couple other 12 pans, like the Dragon palette and the collab with Makeup Just for Fun, and now we have this guy. So it's fun seeing the brand kind of like still stick with this kind of fantasy theme, but trying it out in different ways. So this is really fun. I also feel like this would be a great introductory palette to the brand, just because you get a lot of cool things. And I feel like you can also look at this as like rows and columns to get inspiration for like quick looks, or you could look at it as like little quads as well. There's a lot you can do with this palette. I think it's really, really fun. I enjoy this brand's formulas a lot, and this one, it makes me super happy. Moving on now to the top 3. The top 3, I was certain were gonna be in the top 3. I just love them so much. Number 3, I'm giving to the Divination palette between Blend Bunny and Robert Welsh. I'm so stoked. I've been watching Robert for years. I think his makeup skills are so good, and this palette is incredible. The shimmers that are in here are on another level. They are so ultra sparkly and amazing. I love that this palette is such a good combination of like grungy and pastel. I love the colors specifically that are in here. I'm such a sucker for a purple, blue, green situation. I've really liked kind of bouncing around the different parts of this palette. Even the neutrals in this palette I feel like are really well done as far as the tones go. They're a little more interesting, and the shimmers are just, again, I cannot get enough of the shimmers. This palette is so, so pretty. Another win for Blend Bunny. I feel like they truly can do no wrong. I love the collabs that they've been doing too. I love seeing everyone's interpretation of like what their perfect Blend Bunny palette would be. And this one is just so, so fun. Love the witchy theme. It's just everything. So this one makes me very happy. This was a wonderful addition to my collection. I'm so stoked about it. Moving on to number 2, I ended up deciding to give it to the Calavera palette with Gourmande Girls. This palette is a tribute to the owner's grandparents. It's an homage to Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. It is so pretty. I've been so impressed with this. These are easily my favorite shimmers this brand has ever done. I love the colors that are in here. I just feel like everything plays together in such a fun way. And even though this theming isn't something that I resonate with culturally or anything like that, I can feel the love that was poured into this, and I've had so much fun playing with it. The shimmers are so special, all these different colors. I love the combination of bright and pastel and grunge. It's just all so good. I feel so creative when I play with this palette. I have been so impressed. This is one of my favorite palettes this brand has ever done. They knocked it out of the park. I am so, so, so in love with this one. Their formulas are so good too. The mattes are just so blendable and easy to work with. And again, like their shimmers have been good. Like I've never had a complaint about their shimmers, but they definitely kicked it up a notch with this. And finally, last but not least, ranked number 1. I don't think this will surprise a single person, but I'm giving it to the Vamp palette from Beaute Bar. When they started teasing the Vamp, I got so stoked. I love their Halloween launches. They are some of my favorite Halloween palettes in my collection, between the Basic Witch, the Recently De-Influenced, the Strange and Unusual, the Poison Garden. So many fun, spooky launches, and the Vamp is the perfect addition. I love the vampire theming. It is so cool. I love all these different shade names. I'm such a sucker for purple and red together. I think it's such a beautiful combo. I love the combination of like the muted blue with the grays. It is just so cool. So interesting. The shimmers are out of this world. They are so shifty and sparkly, and their mattes are so beautiful to work with. I am just such a huge fan of this brand, and this palette was such a fun addition to their lineup. I'm so happy to add this with my other spooky palettes from them, and this one just makes my day. This was an easy pick for first place. It's just such a perfect palette. No pun intended, but they killed it with the theme, with this vampire theme so well. I just love the colors that they chose. I love the way it's laid out. It makes me very happy. The formulas are so good. So this was an easy top choice. I'm so into this one, and I just love the way the like lettering is on this. It's so cool. And yeah, that about says it all for this ranking, my last 10 palettes. Those are my thoughts and my feelings. I would love to hear your thoughts. Did my ranking surprise you? Was it pretty easy to guess what I was gonna do? Have you tried any of these? Do you want any of these? I would love to know how you're feeling about them. Leave it all down below for me. If you made it to the end of this video, leave your last 10 most recently used emojis. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm BATTYBEAN there as well. Also, if you want to, you can subscribe. I'm posting most days over here. And if you wanna, you can join my channel memberships. The link to sign up will be down below. There's a couple different tiers with different perks, so you can check it out. I'd love to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.